just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm not talking about my life in general, although I could be. So I started a couple months ago taking artificial THC, which, makes it easier for the body to tolerate without having to deal with the side effects, aka getting high. Because, yeah, I tried that, did not like it. And by did not like it, I mean I hate it so much. And luckily, with the medical THC, that doesn't seem to be an issue. Now, we did start at a very low dose, and my body did get used to it at some point. But given everything that's been happening lately, especially with the radiotherapy, all the nausea and the throwing up more, plus, the general just struggling to eat enough and all those things, my rehab doctor decided, hey, you know what, let's increase the dose. Your body seems to be tolerating it well. It should help even more for the hunger, and it should help as well for the nausea. So it would be a very good time to do it. So what we did to make sure that my body has time to get used to the higher dose is I was taking 0.25 milligrams per pill, once in the morning, once at night. And now for a week, I doubled the dosage for night. So instead of taking a quarter of a milligram, I took half a milligram at night and then a quarter in the morning. Did that for a week. And then I just started a couple days ago doing the same thing in the morning. So half a milligram in the morning, half a milligram at night, which may not seem like much, but it's definitely having an effect on my body. Because one of the main side effects, the only one that I really noticed, is that this pill gives me incredibly dry nose and dry mouth, to the point where it doesn't matter how high the humidity level is. It does not matter how many times I put oil or, nasal gel or anything like that. Within minutes, if I'm lucky, it'll last an hour, enough for me to fall back asleep. But then I wake up and my nose is completely stuffed and I have a hard time breathing as a result of that. And the only way to get rid of that, well, actually, there's two ways. The first way is to get up and just cough a bunch and clear my throat a bunch and blow my nose as much as I can until eventually the majority of the phlegm and everything, and phlegm, mucus, blood, everything that built up has been expulsed from my body. And then I'm good and I can go back to sleep, but it only lasts a couple hours. So definitely not ideal solution. Plus, when I do it in the middle of the night, it wakes me up and then makes it more difficult for me to go back to sleep. Now, the other thing that I can do is, as gross as this sounds, pick my nose. Because what happens is, I don't know if it's really caused by this. I don't think it's caused by this. The mucus and the buildup in phlegm. I think it's just naturally something that's happening as a result of all the tumors in my lungs and maybe some of the other, meds and treatments and everything that I'm doing. It's something that's been here for a while, so I don't think it's necessarily specifically due to this medication. But what happens is during the night, it kind of dries out as I'm sleeping, and then it creates like crusts inside my nose, And the only way to get it out, aside from what I was mentioning before, of just like, waking up in the middle of the night and just like coughing a bunch and blowing my nose a bunch and clearing my throat as much as I can, which has the side effect of waking me up, so it's more difficult for me to fall asleep. The only other solution is to pick my nose, which sounds gross, and it is, but it's just like because that crust builds up, it literally blocks off part of my nasal passageway, and as a result of that, it's difficult for me to breathe. And the thing is, it's not as simple of, oh, whenever I wake up and I have that sensation, let me just apply some lubricant gel that I got at the pharmacy specifically for that nasal lubricant, because that only lasts a couple minutes, maybe an hour max. And unfortunately, when you pick your nose a lot, especially when it's kind of like crusted on the inside, you don't have a choice but to like use the tip of your nail as delicately as you can. Nonetheless, that causes damage and it causes bleeding. So it's like, not only do I have a hard time breathing because there's all this phlegm and mucus and blood and everything, blocking my nasal passageway, but like the entire night, my nose just feels dry, the mouth not so much, well, not as intense as the nose, so it's just like in comparison, it's not that bad, not pleasant, but it could be worse. And the thing is, like, it's my third time increasing it or starting this, and I know, like, first time it took a while, maybe like a week for it to start passing, and then maybe like week and a half, 2 weeks to finally be gone completely. And then I was getting to that same point again after re-increasing it the first time. And then after a week I had to increase it a second time. So for the last 3 days, it just got even worse than before. And it sucked because as a result of that, no matter what I do, I always wake up with my nose completely stuffed, or not completely, but at least very, very partially stuffed. And it makes it difficult for me to breathe. So as a result of that, it makes it difficult for me to sleep. I wake up very often during the night. As an example, yesterday, I woke up a minimum of 12 times. And I'm not exaggerating, that is a minimum. I did not count it, but enough that it's at least once per hour that I was waking up last night. And it sucked. And just to kind of like give you an idea, sometimes I end up with gross Kleenexes like this, with blood and mucus and crap. I have way more in my room because this is the living room, and it's better during the day. But definitely not a fun experience, not a pleasant experience. Unfortunately, there's little I can do because it's a side effect of the med. Even if I somehow did find something that would work, which I would be very surprised because I've tried oil, I've tried the nasal lubricant, which is made specifically for this type of situation, and both work to a certain degree, but very limited. And it's just at this point, all I can really do is just wait it out. But as I wait it out, every night I just get I just get more and more tired. And it's gotten to the point where it's like, I'm tired enough it's gotten to the point that I'm tired enough that it's hard for me to do things. Not, physically tired or anything like that. Just tired in the sense that my brain is so dead that I can just sit on the couch and stare blankly ahead for half an hour before, being able to remind myself, like, oh yeah, I was supposed to record a video, as an example, or whatever. And as a result of that, it's just difficult for me to get stuff done, which was already difficult to begin with. But yeah, now it just makes it more complicated. So yeah, that's been my life lately, especially the last couple of days. Sucks. But anyway, part of the journey, so I thought I would share it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this community. I love you all very much. And let's see if I missed the button, whatever that thing is called.